Justice Not Just Legal Part 12 in audio. Alan turns, stepping softly. He leaves the room and he walks into the other bedroom. He slips his shoes and jeans off and crawls in bed with his shorts and shirt on. Alan knew that Kyle could not tell him about the missing girl. He knew Kyle was very kind, and had love that Alan had never seen in a boy. He knew Kyle had melted Molly's heart. Molly had told Alan all about Kyle and her bonding. Alan knew it was dangerous to conceal the little girl and that Kyle would suffer anything that came. He would even die for her. After all, to Kyle death is nothing. He is a spirit and no one can kill a spirit. The thought comes to him that perhaps Kyle is right, maybe we are spirits. Jack, his son, listened to him when he was young. He was a good kid, and then when Jack was older he had a mind of his own and he destroyed himself. Alan drifts away into the world of slumber. His last thought is how he loved Kyle as his own son. Kyle and his little girl get up and find that Alan had come. Kyle quietly closes Alan's bedroom door. "I will get breakfast, my dear Chad. You can check on Jenny and the things in the barn. I will call you when it is ready." "Okay, I have things that I need to do in the shop." Alan wakes to the smell of venison frying. He remembers those great meals that Kyle had cooked for him. Alan goes into the kitchen to greet Kyle. He is stunned with the sight. He finds himself staring at that little girl he had seen in bed with Kyle last night. She is dressed in a neat pair of jeans and a light blue blouse. Big jade eyes set in a cream face are smiling at Alan. She has long dark brown hair tied back with a blue ribbon. A wisp of flour is in her hair above her forehead. A happy voice rings out, "Good morning, Grandpa." Alan finds himself engulfed in the little girl's arms. Her face is nestled to him. "I love you so much, Grandpa. I am Cynthia Burns, but one day I will be Cynthia Kingsley, but for now you can just call me Little Smidgen. That is what Chad calls me, but I have to call him Chad for now. He is my dear Chad." Alan feels odd. Is he embarrassed? Perhaps he is a little. Anyway, his face is a bit warmer than usual. Luckily, this little girl is very busy with her life now, and Alan does not actually exist. She has turned back to her cooking. She has ignored Alan's existence. She speaks in a casual way. "No doubt you would like to clean up a bit. It will be about another 20 minutes, and I will have breakfast on the table." Alan can smell the biscuits in the oven. Venison is frying at a low heat on the stove. The eggs are ready to fry. It looks as if the little girl is waiting to lift the venison and fry the eggs in the same skillet. Alan is helpless in the presence of this little girl. Reluctantly he turns as he speaks. "Okay, I will wash up a bit." "Oh yes, if you would call my dear Chad I would be grateful. He is out back somewhere." Alan quickly washes up and he slips outside. He is very eager to speak with Kyle. Alan walks into the little shop with a "Good morning, son." "Good morning, Dad. No doubt you have already met the little Smidgen, have you?" To hear Kyle address Alan as Dad gives Alan a great feeling. Kyle speaks it in such a firm, meaningful way. "Yes, in a very awkward way. She may not know it, but that little thing really shook me up. Is she really that little girl that they think drowned or was eaten by a big cat?" "Yes, she is, Cynthia Burns. At least that is what she told me, but I don't call her that. I thought maybe I can claim her as my little sister if you would like a little daughter." "You claim her as a little sister? She says her name will be Cynthia Kingsley someday. She calls me Grandpa." Then she wrapped her arms around me and squeezed me like a little python. "It is only that she likes to call me Daddy. She says I am a daddy to her and it gives her comfort. I don't see that it can be a problem." "Yes, that is our plan. When she is old enough I will marry her. She is a sweet little girl, Dad." "Okay, son, my head is still spinning, but maybe as I learn more about it, it will make a little sense to me. We had better get in there and eat breakfast. I was sent out here to tell you it was ready. I am not used to a little girl like that taking control like the mistress of the house." At first I was a little worried, but I soon learned that she does not push in unless she knows what she is doing. She showed me how to skin a cat. She knows more about those Rockies than I do, she leads the way and she will warn you of all the danger too. There are a few strange things I have had to deal with. She was raised a nudist, she likes to run around bare naked in the cabin, but she is very caring though if I ask her to put some clothes on she doesn't mind. Of course sometimes it is just her little panties, she considers that is having her clothes on. I have not tried to push the issue, overall she wants to make me happy, she is really not a nudist now, she doesn't want anyone to see her naked but me. You are telling me that little thing has been running around bare naked, does she sleep with you like that too? She has been naked some of the time, it is just in the cabin. She has asked to sleep with me naked a few times but I have managed to satisfy her mind without it. She doesn't always sleep with me, it is just a treat for her. There is not a thing in life that gives her more comfort. It seems that I have really taken the place of her father, there is not a happier child on earth. Did she sleep with her father? No, her father was very strict in that way. Her father is a very kind and honest father, the law has done a very cruel deed to those two. Seeing her little naked body was tough for me at first, I learned to manage, I got used to it. She has really taught me many things about life, she is the most caring person that I have ever known. It is quiet at breakfast and Alan keeps a close eye on the little girl, he assesses her keenly at first, then he becomes to adore her, she is a cute little girl and she even has the persona to match. Alan can understand well, Kyle's plan to marry her, she loves all the things Kyle loves, and they adore each other. Breakfast is over, it is still quiet and little Smidgen breaks the silence, you men may go in the living room and visit and I will tidy up the kitchen. Alan is firm when he speaks, little Smidgen, you will have to hog-tie me first if you get to clean the kitchen up alone, either we all three do it or I will do it alone, and you can go in on the couch and love your dear Chad. Little Smidgen has the sweetest beaming smile, she speaks softly, you are the nicest daddy or grandpa, I don't know which. Girly, let's get this kitchen cleaned up, then we will go in the living room and figure out all of that. It is not long and the three are in the living room. Little Smidgen snuggling up to Kyle, brings Alan to tears, Alan has never seen two that was so close, the little girl is in delight and so is Kyle. Alan had never held a little girl in his arms like that, he knew it would be a great feeling. Kyle tells of the things in his life since he found the little girl, many things had happened, it had been over a year ago that Alan left. Alan tells of the things in his life in his absence. I sold my home in California and I bought one in Colorado, it is in the Gunnison area. Molly sold her home also but she doesn't plan to buy again, she is living with me, we are not married but we plan to be, it is very convenient with us both being alone, we are not living as man and wife yet, neither of us thinks that is the right thing to do. We have been the best of friends for years, she would have liked to come up here with me but she needed to wait until a friend of hers that we hired to do the chores and take care of thing, she is available next week. Then Molly will be on her way up here. Molly will love little Smidgen as she loves you, son, she is looking forward to being with you again, those 2 weeks with you when you were princess was the best 2 weeks of her life. Little Smidgen starts snickering, it breaks into giggling, then she stops and says, I am sorry. Little Smidgen, if you could have seen him, he doesn't just look like a princess, he really acts like one, he has magnetic charisma. Dad, I am concerned about little Smidgen's father, someone should start visiting him and see when he gets out, it may be if he had a good lawyer he could get out early, if somehow we could find the teen phantom I know she would help, I am sure Molly will go and visit little Smidgen's daddy. Son, I don't understand, you are wanted for murder and she is just a little runaway girl. Dad, her father is in prison, they are both in one package, we must find a good lawyer that will let me pay him later, I will work all my life if that is what it takes to pay him, I will even give up the wilderness, now it is not just me, we cannot hide forever, I cannot bear to see little Smidgen living in a foster home, besides she is a part of me now, neither can I bear seeing her daddy rotting in prison. Little Smidgen is up on her knees, her arms is around Kyle's neck and she is crying very intensely. Alan's view is a bit blurred, he excuses himself, he goes to the bathroom. It takes him a few minutes to get himself in the state of mind that he can discuss these things with Kyle with some sense of reality. Alan gets back and settled in his chair again. Little Smidgen is back in Kyle's lap snuggled up to him. Son, I have done a little research in the time I have been gone, it's been some over a year you know. I have heard of a good lawyer, T.J. Russell, most thinks he is the best but it seems that he has quit his law practice, he is working full-time for some institution, Molly, and I have tried to find the teen phantom too, everything seemed to dead end, we did send her some letters, you realize we have to be careful, we cannot expose ourselves, it would hurt all of us. We found Keith, your father, and we visited with him a couple of times. Molly tried to assure him that you were still alive and well, that was hard to do and not expose ourselves, we couldn't trust him with the truth, Molly had to present herself as a seer, and he doesn't take a fancy to anything to do with the spirit world. I know my father knows nothing of the spirit world. Has he hit the bottle like that all his life? Yes, he will drink himself to death, I don't know how I can help him, in his way he has taught me to leave all of that sort of thing alone, I never even tried to experiment with any of it. I have never tried smoking, it didn't make any sense to breathe smoke down into my lungs, I didn't spend time at home when my father was there, I didn't like to breathe the smoke, I always liked the feeling of cool clean air, I always liked to think clearly, there was no reason to numb my brain with anything. I have read a lot about drugs and I don't understand how they think of it to be pleasure. Some think the alcohol problem is inherited, I don't believe it, it is the type of spirit we have that is what makes us destroy our bodies, it has nothing to do with genetics. Son, I have done some serious thinking on that, as you say it does seem that we are spirits, you are nothing like your father, my blood son overdosed and he wasn't like me either, you are more like me than my son was, of course you are still young but I cannot see you ever giving up your values, you will just be more set in them as you grow older. I don't know about little Smidgen there, I could not imagine what her parents are like, but aside from her being a lady, I think she is much like you, she is not about to give up her values, I really would not like being her enemy, I could not handle that wading up that creek and swimming across it, I could not have faced those cats like that either. Little Smidgen speaks up. I really liked the cats, I didn't want to hurt them but they wouldn't leave me alone, I was afraid they were going to eat me. I had seen pictures of them before, I have read all about them, they look nice, I thought how nice it would be to pet them, you know, there are some that are tame that won't hurt you. Yes, I know that, little Smidgen, but those kinds are not running around out there in the forest. Molly makes it up to Shawnee and she and Alan go to visit little Smidgen's father the very next day. Now, we will look in on Charlotte's little gang and see how things are going. Bill awakes before the others, he is shocked but pleased, he feels Charlotte's head lying on his chest, her left leg is doubled up and it is lying across his legs, her arm is laying across his waist, it is as if she had been hugging him and fell asleep. Bill doubts that she would do that if she were awake, she must have been dreaming of loving her little girl, it is not vital to Bill what the reason is, it is an awesome feeling and Bill soaks in her comfort and he pours his love out to her, she tightens her arm around him and she whispers, "Oh, Kyle," then she nestles her face against him and she relaxes again, Bill has never experienced anything like this before. Susie comes to Bill's mind, he is wondering if it is wrong, he has great love and care for Charlotte, Charlotte is like a little sister yet, she is like an older sister and her intellect is far superior to his, Bill would die for Charlotte but he still loves Susie, Bill would like Susie to have the love that he has for Charlotte, he wants Susie to be happy. Bill realizes Charlotte had been dreaming she was hugging Kyle, and Bill wonders how it would feel. He had never dreamed of loving someone he had never seen or been with before. It was sort of disappointing. He had even had thoughts of marrying Charlotte, that is, if she could be happy with him. She does seem to be in a much higher class than he is. He could be content to just have the close bond that he has with her now. They would not need to marry. Susie had her boyfriend of her liking and style. This left him with no obligation to Susie. He didn't know that for sure, but he had heard many rumors of that sort.